You've been touched more roughly by stress than by your own hands. And yet, every time you try to reconnect with your body, it just doesn't feel right. What if the problem isn't aging, or testosterone, or desire? What if it's the way you've been taught to ignore your own tenderness? If you've ever felt numb, disconnected, or ashamed, you're not alone. Stay with me. This might change the way you touch yourself and the way you feel in your skin. He didn't say it out loud, but it showed in the way he avoided mirrors, the way he hesitated before undressing, the way he talked about everything except his own body. At 67, Paul still walked his dog every morning. He still remembered his anniversary, still paid attention when his wife changed her hair. But when it came to touching himself, he stopped. Not because of pain, not because of shame, but because, one day, it just didn't feel like anything at all. So he told himself it was normal. Maybe this is just what happens. Maybe after 60, a man's body slowly forgets how to want. He shrugged it off, buried the thought, and carried on. Until one quiet afternoon, during a routine checkup, his doctor asked, "When was the last time you felt pleasure in your own body?" Paul blinked, then laughed. "I'm not sure. That's a strange question." But the question stayed with him. Because what if his body hadn't stopped needing connection? What if he had just stopped listening? That moment cracked something open. He wasn't grieving lost desire, he was grieving the silence. The quiet fading of sensation, the slow unraveling of presence, and the deeper truth that hit him hardest. He hadn't touched his body with kindness in years, only habit, or frustration, or absence. And he's not alone. Many men don't talk about this because they don't even know where to begin. They're told to stay strong, stay active, stay functional. But no one tells them how to stay present. That's where we begin. Because what if the problem isn't your age, but the way you've been told to ignore your own gentleness? Let's dive in. Your body isn't failing you. It's just speaking a new language. And like any language, if you haven't been taught how to listen, it can feel foreign, frustrating, even silent. After 60, many men feel like their desire has gone quiet. But it hasn't disappeared, it's just become more subtle, more layered. Testosterone naturally declines. But so does dopamine, the spark of motivation. Even the nerves that carry pleasure slow down like roads that need resurfacing after years of use. And the skin? It's not just thinner. It's more sensitive to friction, less elastic, more prone to micro tears. Which means, what used to feel stimulating might now feel irritating. What used to take 5 minutes may now take 15 or more. Not because you're broken, because your nervous system is wiser, more selective, less reactive. Think of it this way. At 25, your body was like a drum quick to vibrate with every touch. At 65, it's more like a cello, deeper, slower, and capable of incredible resonance if you learn to play it with care. The tragedy is, most men aren't taught this. So when they feel less sensation, they assume they're less of a man. When in truth, their body is simply inviting a new kind of presence. One that's less about performance and more about perception. Have you noticed that it takes longer to warm up? Or that your fantasies don't spark quite the same way? That's not failure, that's transition. And with the right approach, it can become transformation. Because here's the beauty. When you stop forcing your body to respond the old way, you begin to discover how much it still wants to respond, just differently. And that shift, that's where healing begins. Most men think they need to do more. Grip harder, move faster, finish quickly. But the truth is, speed isn't satisfying, it's stressful. And your body knows it. When you rush, especially after 60, your nervous system shifts into fight or flight mode. Your breath shortens. Your heart rate spikes. Your blood vessels constrict. And instead of pleasure, your body prepares for defense. You may not realize it, but if you're holding your breath while touching yourself, if your mind is already somewhere else, your body isn't receiving what it needs. It's not softening, it's bracing. The irony? The more you rush to finish, the less likely you are to feel. Because arousal isn't about friction, it's about presence. Have you ever noticed that the best sensations happen when you're not trying too hard? Like when you're relaxed in the shower or drifting off to sleep? That's your parasympathetic nervous system at work, your rest and receive mode. That's the key to sustainable, satisfying pleasure. But we don't live in a culture that teaches slowness. We're taught to conquer, not to sense. So it's no surprise that many men carry that same urgency into their most private moments. And the result? Instead of rewiring your body for intimacy, you train it to chase tension. Touch becomes mechanical. Connection disappears. Here's what shifts everything. Just 5 extra minutes. 5 minutes to breathe. To notice your body. To feel the skin, the warmth, the rise and fall of sensation. No goal, no rush, just awareness. It may feel unfamiliar at first, but like anything worth learning, it begins with practice. And that practice can become peace. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you let your body lead instead of your expectations? When sensation fades, most men instinctively respond the same way. They grip harder. They move faster. They turn up the volume, hoping their body will finally hear the signal. But force isn't clarity, and pressure isn't connection. In fact, over time, it can do the opposite. The skin of the penis isn't designed for compression. It's built with spongy blood vessels, delicate nerve endings, and connective tissue that thrives with circulation, not trauma. The more tightly you grip, the more friction you create. And with age, that friction becomes more damaging. Ever heard of death grip syndrome? It's not a formal diagnosis, but it's real. It's what happens when a man becomes conditioned to only respond to one specific kind of pressure, usually his own hand, at a specific speed, in a specific rhythm. The result? Reduced sensitivity, more difficulty during partnered intimacy, and sometimes micro tears in the tissue leading to inflammation, soreness, and long-term frustration. But this isn't about blame. It's about awareness. Because when you understand what your body needs, you can finally stop working against it. Let me offer a different image. Think of your body not as a problem to solve, but as a system to support. Like massaging a sore shoulder, not pounding it into relief. That same principle applies here. Start by loosening your grip. Use a natural, unscented lubricant not just for comfort, but to reduce abrasion and support blood flow. Let your hand glide, not grip. Let movement follow sensation, not force it. And above all, shift your focus. From getting somewhere to being here. From outcome to observation. Because when you reduce pressure, something else rises. Sensitivity. Not just physical, but emotional. And that's the gateway to deeper pleasure, deeper healing. Let me ask, what if the gentlest version of you is also the most powerful? Some men don't feel pleasure, not because their body can't, but because somewhere along the way, they started to believe they shouldn't. And that belief doesn't just stay in the mind. It seeps into the muscles, into the breath, into the nervous system. You might not remember the first time someone told you self-pleasure was wrong, but your body does. It remembers the flinch, the tension, the quiet withdrawal. Over years, even decades, that shame doesn't scream. It whispers. It shows up as holding your breath without realizing. As tightening your jaw, as finishing quickly just to get it over with. This isn't just psychological. Emotional stress creates physical patterns. Your body literally contracts, making arousal more difficult and sensation more distant. And the older you get, the more those patterns settle in, unless you begin to gently unwind them. So, where do you begin? With compassion? With truth? By acknowledging this isn't about performance. This is about presence. You're not broken. You're not too old. You're not shameful for wanting pleasure or for missing it. You're human. You're changing. You're still worthy of connection with others and with yourself. So if part of you still tenses up when you touch your own body, start with this, a breath. Not to fix anything, but to say, I'm here now, and I'm listening. And if the emotions feel too heavy to carry alone, talk to someone. A doctor, a therapist, even a friend who understands. Because pleasure doesn't disappear, but it does hide, especially behind years of guilt. And bringing it back isn't about technique. It's about tenderness. So the next time your body goes quiet, ask gently, is there something I'm still holding that I no longer need to? Touch doesn't have to be a habit. It can be a ritual. Not the kind with candles or music unless you want that, but a simple, quiet space where your body feels safe, unhurried, welcomed. Because when touch is rushed, it becomes mechanical. But when it's intentional, it becomes healing. Here's how to begin. Start with your space. It doesn't have to be perfect, just private. Quiet enough that you're not listening for footsteps outside the door. Safe enough that you don't feel the need to hurry. Then your body. Wash your hands. Use a clean towel or cloth. Choose a lubricant that's gentle, fragrance-free, and made for sensitive skin. This isn't just hygiene, it's signaling to your nervous system that care is coming. Then your breath. Inhale slowly. Exhale even slower. Let your shoulders drop. You're not here to fix anything. You're here to feel. And finally, drop the outcome. You don't need to finish. You don't need to perform. You don't even need to enjoy every second. You just need to show up, to meet your body where it is today, with patience, with curiosity, with kindness. Some days, that might mean a few minutes of light touch and breath. Other days, it might mean tears, or laughter, or stillness. All of that is okay, because what you're creating isn't just a routine. It's a ritual of reconnection, one where you're not chasing sensation, but inviting your body back into relationship. And over time, just like any relationship, trust builds, tension softens, and touch becomes more than just physical. It becomes home. If this speaks to you, drop a comment below. It helps others know they're not alone in this quiet relearning. For most men, the silence isn't dangerous. It's just unfamiliar. But sometimes, that silence is trying to tell you something deeper. So how do you know the difference? Here's what to gently pay attention to. Pain during arousal or ejaculation. Not discomfort, actual pain. Sharp, persistent, or burning. Unusual tightness, swelling, or lumps. Especially around the testicles, perineum, or lower abdomen. Changes in sensation. If you suddenly feel nothing, not even warmth or pressure, that may be neurological. Blood in your semen. Even small traces. It may not be serious, but it should always be checked. Erectile changes that don't improve with rest or stress reduction. Sometimes it's just fatigue, but if it persists, your body may be asking for deeper attention. These signs don't mean something's wrong with you. They just mean your body is asking for a second opinion. And here's the truth many men need to hear. Your doctor is not judging you. He or she has heard it all before. What feels deeply personal to you is simply part of the job to them. So if something feels off, don't wait. Don't Google in silence. Don't brush it off as just aging. A 5-minute conversation with a doctor can save months, sometimes years of discomfort or fear. And if you're on medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, or depression, know that many of these can affect arousal, sensitivity, and sexual function. It's not your fault. It's not weakness. It's biology. And biology can be navigated with the right information, the right support, and the right care. Because staying connected to your body also means knowing when to ask for help. And that, too, is strength. This isn't about getting back what you used to have. It's about discovering what's still waiting for you. Intimacy, after 60, isn't gone, it's different. It's not about friction or fantasy. It's about rhythm, breath, permission. It's about presence, not performance. And when you begin to touch yourself with care, not out of habit, not out of tension, but with curiosity and kindness, your body begins to respond. Not always with fireworks. Sometimes with quiet. Sometimes with warmth. Sometimes with a tear you didn't know was there. And all of it is welcome, because this isn't just physical. It's emotional memory. It's healing where silence settled in. It's reminding yourself, I'm still here, I still matter. You may never feel the way you did at 25, but you might feel something deeper, more rooted, more honest. And maybe that's the kind of pleasure that was missing all along. So the next time you reach for your own body, do it without pressure. Do it without guilt. Do it as an act of reconnection, not retreat. Because you're not past your prime. You're in a new one that values quality over speed, depth over intensity, connection over conquest. And if something in this video clicked with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a brother, a friend, someone who might need this quiet reminder. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and take good care of yourself. You deserve it.